endless opportunities for mad science around here.
Yeah, I just
I mean,
started recording again.
Okay.
Something else is recording too. I'm not sure if
that's Christopher's AI.
I don't know
Okay.
how to turn that off.
That's okay. So,
Same.
well, first, hello, everybody. Today, we are going to lay out the CSA model, which CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. It's like a cooperative partnership where we have three of the most amazing people, skilled and hardworking, and you're going to meet you're going to meet them today. And we are producing value on multiple levels, starting with the basics, right? We're going to produce food here at Galt's Landing. So if you don't already know, Galt's Landing is an off-grid homestead that here we produce all of our food, water, and energy needs right on site. So there's a cherry tree with cherries on it. There's a mulberry tree. There's a hog plum. We actually have about 260 different types of foods growing here right now, and we're never going to stop adding, right? Because diversity is the foundation of strength of our system. So we have about 5 acres here right behind me that is currently it hasn't been developed, and we're going to develop that into nurseries and gardens and food propagation systems and training centers. And we're going to come to our community, right? We're going to invite 40 families into this CSA from the local community. And we are going to invite you here to show you and teach you how to go from wherever you are to completely food self-reliant. And this is the team that's going to do that. So if that's of interest to you, then you're going to love this podcast. And the other thing about it is we're not just doing this because it's a no-brainer for us to do, because it's great and we enjoy the heck out of the process. But we're doing this to scale, to show the world a model that can scale exponentially. To give you an example, we are a nursery. Every food forest, by its very nature, is a nursery. You know, like you take this mulberry right here, right? And not only does the mulberry taste good and have an incredible nutrient density and nutrient profile, but it also has a lot of seeds. Well, what do those seeds create? More mulberry trees. In fact, you can break off a little stick of this mulberry tree like this. You can, and we just did this to about 100 plants in the last 48 hours. You can take a piece like this, you can soak it in the water, let it start rooting again, and then you can plant that and you can have a new mulberry tree. Well, after 6-8 months with good stewardship and tending, that mulberry tree at your local nursery is worth like 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks, right? So we're creating as a foundation, we're helping our members create their own food forests in their own yards. And in fact, Chris, you've been doing this now for a little bit. And in fact, you know, before I go into that, I want to first introduce and speak from my perspective, the fellows on the call here. Matthew Britt has been my partner now for almost 3.5 years. And he is the most dedicated and selfless and committed person I've ever met in my life. He gets the why we're doing what we're doing. And he's given up a massive $1 million a year job to help us, to help society do what they do. So it's just an amazing fella. Eric Heinzelmann, and Eric, of course, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm wrong a lot. So if I step on this, but what I've learned about Eric, not only have I met him now on multiple occasions, he was actually introduced to me by his brother Bill, who was nominated for a Silver Star and a big part of what we're doing. Eric helped open believe it was about 35 Planet Hollywood restaurants, and helped train and coach these chefs. And now he's one of those geniuses, and he'll show you some of that genius here on the call today. But this happened about 6-8 months ago. we had Seminole pumpkins laying all over the property, and I have no idea what to do with a Seminole pumpkin. Eric grabs that thing and he does some fancy stuff with a knife, and he puts some stuff on it, puts it on the oven, on the burner, and within 30 minutes, we're eating the most delicious food. I couldn't even believe it. I couldn't believe that I've been walking by those pumpkins for 6 months, and most of them were going rotten right into the ground, right? He's an incredible chef and a teacher. And so, and we'll get into more details as we go. Christopher Allison, he's our chief operator. He's our operations manager here. And this fella has had 10 tours, 7 on foreign lands. He's been in all sorts of different situations. He was head security at one point for the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff at the Pentagon, right? So the people that we have here are here. I know this is true from my inner being. There's been some divine guidance. The fact that we're all sitting here talking with you now, because the type of coincidences and synchronicities and how things are coming together, I just don't think they're just coincidence, right? I think there's something happening. So now I want to turn it over and quit yapping and turn it over to the team. And Chris, if you want to kind of guide the rest of this, and then everybody can jump in, and we can share with you why this model can scale globally and literally change the world.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, I'll go ahead and share my screen now. Created a quick little PowerPoint to keep us on track. Can everybody see that or not? Can you see the screen?
Yep, looks good.
Okay, cool. So yep, just keep us on track here. Gulf Landing. So the goal of this is transforming local food systems through community supported agriculture. So the vision for sustainability would be is forward-thinking CSA initiative focused on the local food systems.
We're now looking at a white screen. Are we supposed to be?
There
it is.
Okay.
There it is. Yep.
I have 2 computer screens. So this is a forward-thinking CSA initiative focused on local food systems. So if we can build up the local food systems, we don't ever have to worry about the food supply chain failing. We'll do that by sticking with our core values of environmental stewardship, food security, and building community resilience. And then teaching people through the CSA that it's more than just produce and coming and picking blueberries or apples or what have you. You're coming here to learn, which we'll get into later with our education piece. Collaborate with others. There's going to be a lot of like-minded individuals that want this system to succeed and help their communities out. And then just learn how to do regenerative living. So if anybody has anything they'd like to add to that, please do.
Every one of these individual points could be expanded on for hours, how important they are.
Absolutely. So education is going to be a big piece, and I'll let Eric elaborate more on this after the slide, but empowering people through education, you give a man a fish, he eats for a day, you teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. That's the same principle here. So Eric is the head chef and CEO also of E&B Mushroom Co. So I'd like you to talk a little bit about your mushroom business as well and how that adds in. But the biggest thing is the farm to table and preservation of the foods you have. So just like Jim had talked about earlier, walking by the pumpkins, he had seen them for so long and never did anything with them until Eric showed us how to use them for one instance. So he'll be covering farm to table cooking, canning, using seasonal ingredients that you have. And then from the perspective from Jim, myself, and another gentleman named Carlos, we're going to be focusing more on the permaculture piece, where we'll teach you how to propagate the food around your land, how to do grafting, how to build small food forests, etc. I mean, the list goes on with the possibilities we have at Gulfs. Eric, would you like to expand a little bit more on the farm to table piece?
So with the cooking and the farm to table piece, it's everyone knows how to bake a potato. But if that's all you can do with it, then you're kind of stuck. So teaching people how to take all of the food there at Galt's, but also individual pieces of that food and how to cook it, 25 different ways. So you're not stuck in the same repetitive motion. And also adding in the medicinal values of a lot of these plants. It's absolutely endless what we can do with them. So they call me a mad scientist if you want, but I love playing with all this stuff because that's what it is to me. It's like it's absolutely phenomenal to be able to go in there every day and be like, oh, I haven't used that before. So let's see what it can do, see how many different ways we can make it. Let's see, what's its value as far as to our body and to the community, and explore every angle of each thing individually and then as a whole as well.
And can you add a little bit on your business you just started, E&B Mushrooms?
So E&B Mushrooms, I started with my brother Bill about a year ago. I started it in a 1-bedroom apartment in my living room. We expanded into a 2-bedroom apartment, and I used the extra bedroom and bathroom and converted the bathroom into a grow room where I have 3 growing chambers. I grow 7 different kinds of mushrooms, lion's mane, blue oyster, pink oyster, golden oyster, chestnut, king trumpet, and reishi. We sell them fresh, dried. I do powders with the lion's mane, and I'm working on doing a powder and a tincture with the lion's mane and the reishi. And then I also grow 15 different kinds of microgreens. I produce all of my own dirt from the mushroom blocks. So that's one thing that I didn't realize when I started it. The mushroom company is you generate a massive amount of dirt. So even with, I have room for about 100 blocks right now. So that's about 1,000 pounds of dirt every 2 weeks. Because once the blocks are done producing, you can compost them and they hold a tremendous amount of water, and the mycelium in the block never dies. So it will actually, if you throw it in with your, whatever you're planting, cover it in mulch, the next time it gets cold, under 60 degrees for any length of time, it'll actually sprout more mushrooms. So,
and we just had that happen. I just took a picture of just about a few days ago, and we now have, what kind of mushroom was that growing?
Blue oyster.
That was a blue oyster mushroom right out of the mulch right next to my house. It's so cool. And I've been using the lion's mane powder every day in my coffee, and I'm completely hooked on it. I don't want to go without it. Eric, can you show the what you were just showing me? Would this be a good time that you texted us the pictures or no?
Sure, I got them right here.
Okay. This is so cool, you guys. He was walking around the property just yesterday, or I guess it was yesterday morning, and he grabbed some cranberry hibiscus, some lemongrass, and some
moringa and some sugarcane.
Yeah.
So I took the cranberry hibiscus, dried it, and kind of squished it up. I'm gonna make tea with this. The lemongrass. Let's see if we can get this on here. So this is the lemongrass.
Yep.
That I just ground up. I didn't want it too fine. And then this is the moringa powder, which we can add to a lot of different things. It's very nutrient dense, from what I've been reading about it. And the flavor profile is very unique. It's also something that we can sneak into like smoothies and the popsicles that we were talking about doing
Yeah.
for kids that don't like to eat vegetables. And then I took and cold pressed some of the sugar cane and then cooked it down and ground it up and made sugar. So there's just a lot of opportunities with all of this stuff to do many, many different things.
That's so amazing.
So just put that in perspective for everybody. Eric and I went out and picked all those things yesterday. It took us about 20 minutes to include cutting down sugar cane. And how long did it take you to prep all that?
The prep time isn't a whole lot. It just sits in my dehydrator for like 10 hours, but to cook the sugar down probably took 20 or 25 minutes. And I only took 7 pieces of sugar cane that were about 2 feet long. And I only processed 4 of them. I still have 3 sitting here. And that made about a little over a quarter of a cup of sugar. So if you look at the amount of sugar cane that's on that property, just right now, if we didn't plant another one, and I know that there's already a bunch in there, you could make literally hundreds of pounds of sugar off of that property.
Awesome.
So yeah, appreciate that, Eric. And just for everybody out there, on December 15th, that's why I was looking up at the calendar. That's going to be our first class for the CSA. There will be popsicles and smoothies. So to elaborate on what Eric was just talking about, all those things we can incorporate in.
How cool is that? Having healthy popsicles for our kids. That's so valuable to me.
It is.
Yeah, and with those, we can take all the fruits that are coming in right now and make the popsicles.
Yeah.
And then we can add this moringa powder and the lion's mane powder, anything that we want into these popsicles. Yeah. The fruit will mask the flavor of them enough that the kids won't realize that they're eating something good. Yeah. And it's very interactive with the kids, and it kind of brings them in on the entire experience.
Awesome.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
So next is so the community. So transforming lives and building the communities. Big things here is access to premium produce. There's nothing added at Gulf's Landing to any of the produce. It's all natural. Which we're going to teach everybody else how to do in their backyards. Eric, you have your own food forest on your balcony there in an apartment that's 10 by 10, and you have more fruits and vegetables out there growing than the grocery store. Community building. So as the collaboration shared values, that's only going to increase how our community lives and lives better in a regenerative posture. And then the lifelong practical application of the education you receive is invaluable. Anybody want to add anything to that?
Just the actual food forest. You're probably going to get to that.
Yeah. So the CSA benefits, the cooking, planning, preservation we talked to, this is the big one. Building a food forest. So we're going to give you a spot of land and start with teaching you how to build the soil, how to make compost. And then I think the 4th class we have lined out, it will be on the website posted. But that 4th class will be giving you that piece of land, small piece of dirt that you can plant banana trees, sugar cane, any of the 260 species that you want to plant there at Gulf's Landing, and we'll teach you how to take care of that, add all the seeds of abundance, if you will, and then transport that into your home where you can teach your community how to do the same thing you just did.
Yeah. And when we say teach you how to take care of it, we're going to be taking care of it and showing you how we take care of it. Then when it gets transferred to your backyard as a CSA member, then you'll know exactly how. And by the way, I don't grow this food. We designed it, the land, and we put it in the ground right, and it grows itself once you establish it properly.
Absolutely. Thanks for clearing that up, Jim. And then access to Gulch Landing. I mean, I don't think I've known Jim for a couple of years now, and when I first went to Gulch with Bill, I always have to say this: Gulch was maybe had a little bit of the banana trees growing, but there wasn't the Airbnbs. There was still mostly sand on the ground. There wasn't a huge food forest. They were in the process of making it, and now when you go back, it is a food forest. And I've never heard anybody go up there and say they don't like this place. The relaxation you get, the mindfulness, the peacefulness, it just comes to you. You don't even have to try. So the access alone is insane. But the community areas we use for workshops, you can also come up there and just hang out. Beautiful 460 acre lake, cat lake, private lake.
Yep. Yeah,
which-
right there.
So right down there, just about where the spot Jim's pointing, there's a private dock, which happens to be on the next slide anyway, or this slide. So there you can go down, you can fish, take it home, launch small boats, canoes, paddle boards, etc. And there's no boats on this lake, so something to look forward to every day. And then we're working on building a colloidal silver pool with a fish pond. Jim, you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, yes. So this is going to be kind of a phase 2 where we build a colloidal silver pool with 2 Airbnbs, and the pool will be the top layer. The second layer will be a pond with a living plant filter system. So we can get more into the details on that if you have any questions.
And then last but not least, the health benefits, obviously enhanced nutrition by eating fresh organic produce, eggs, dairy. We'll have some dairy cows coming soon. Jim already has, how many chickens, ducks, turkeys do you have, Jim?
Yeah, we've probably got 50 or 60 chickens and probably just 6 or 7 ducks, like half a dozen, maybe a dozen turkeys, and 9 or 10 cows. We have 7 species of fish in the pond, and we're going to expand all of this stuff. And we're collaborating with Joel Salatin, and he's helping show us how to best integrate animals into the system. And he's the best in the world at it, from my awareness.
Perfect. And to add on to that, so closing it out with your physical and mental health, like I said before, Eric and I went out and picked, I mean, every time he's got to cook something, we go out and pick it. It takes us less than 30 minutes, but we're out in nature, picking our food, cooking it. It's not store-bought poison that gives your kids all these diseases and yourself all these diseases.
Yeah.
You're out there doing what you're supposed to do, and that's take care of yourself. So yeah, as Jim talked about earlier, the membership model, we'll let 40 members in at a time with $350 a month. Teach you all of those things on the education piece, cooking, canning, the access to golf, the stewardship of the land, of the people. So all of that is going to support adding fresh produce over and over. So make sure everything's up to date seasonally, high quality fruits and vegetables. We're only going to get more chickens and we're only going to get more cows. So it's just going to expand as we go. We're also reinvest into more food forest development. Jim, how many acres do you have total of land, plantable land?
Plantable, probably 40 acres of plantable land. We actually have 51 acres, and we're going to plant almost all of it, but some of it's going to be for animal agriculture. So we'll have different plantings, and others for homes. So everything around the homes is a food forest as well.
Absolutely. So never run out of space, and we'll just keep growing the infrastructure, getting better education. We're gonna get guest speakers in there, to teach us better ways to do things. Invaluable stuff.
Yeah.
So after those, you kind of wonder what's going to happen after those 40 members. Our goal is to keep 40 members there for a lifetime. 6 months to a year, learn what you need to do, and go and take that food forest and all that knowledge and put it into your community. And then we'll act as that hub and support for those members out there. And we'll just keep this process going throughout our community until, you know, my goal would be taking over HOAs and letting people plant food in their backyard like they should be able to.
Yep. So think about the scalability of this. So after 12 months, one food forest turns into 41 food forests. And then another 12 months, 40 times 40, what is that, 1,600? Well, boom, just that right there, the town of St. Cloud, our community all around us, would be completely food self-reliant in 3 to 4 years. And we are collaborating with the pastor at the local church, thanks to Chris's introduction. Amazing guy. We're collaborating with business leaders. We're collaborating with all sorts of people because our primary goal, right, is, you know, people always say, Jim, you've got food security. You're so lucky. You've got enough food where you don't have to worry about a collapse. Well, no, we don't. We don't have food security until all of our neighbors have enough food to eat.
Thanks, Jim. And one thing Jim talked about before is in this vision for the future is the global influence. So eventually we'll get it to where you'll be able to see Gulf, you know, 24 hours a day. And then every time we have a class, we'll be able to put that online so you can learn how to cook, learn how to can, learn how to do everything. So empowering the world as we go.
Yeah.
So to conclude it all, we're growing freedom at Gulf Landing, right? That's the easiest way to think about it and look at it. Building a movement for regenerative self-reliance and building a community. Members will have the tools to make impactful choices for generations, teach their kids. Just to stop for a second, I don't even think most kids know how to plant anything nowadays because they don't even do that in school. You know, my daughter told me she planted a lima bean that died, and that was it. You know, like grow another lima bean so you learn how to do it. And that's the big thing we're teaching you is something as simple as growing a lima bean, everybody should be able to do. Yeah. So what that leads to is feeding families and fostering meaningful change through the permaculture ethics of people care, earth care, and then reinvest that surplus to people care.
Beautiful, Chris.
So that's
yep.
You want to close it out, Jim, or add anything?
I just want to say that we are here to scale. We don't have non-competes. We don't have any types of restrictions. Our goal is to inspire and empower our community to be self-reliant, to be healthy. This is the ultimate health insurance. This is the ultimate food security insurance. It's the ultimate. I love walking into my backyard. I mean, I am drawn here. This is less maintenance than a lawn and provides a ridiculous amount of food and medicine. Like this plant right behind me that's getting ready to harvest, that's turmeric, right? Everything around me is not only really good food, but it's also really good medicine, right? These cherries, it's the highest vitamin C content of any fruit, I've been told, right? Is vitamin C good for anything? Of course it is. So our job is to really have, is to solve problems. And when we catalyze a shift in awareness that leads to mass adoption of this by demonstrating the logic of it and the value of it, boom, then we have a secure future, a future of abundance for our grandkids and beyond.
Can't ever say it better.
You know, I know that you mentioned things about schools, and I just want to reiterate how powerful this model is to be actually integrated into school campuses, whether that is a campus for, primary or middle school, high school, college, university. It doesn't make a difference. Every one of these places can benefit from operating a model like this out of those locations, empowering the children, empowering the community. And from there, again, it duplicates out. It inspires other people to take action on doing this, which is exactly what we need right now. This can't just be done by us. We need to have other people really get the vision, take the action on it, be inspired, and get out there and share it. And, really, what better way than impacting the children, right? Setting a positive example that kids can get started in this at a very early age, learn the skills, have a new purpose, give them something to love and care for, integrate with nature instead of operating like they're separate from it. And that just sets a foundation for them that carries through the rest of their life. And good stewardship, right? Loving something else that's not just a human makes a massive long-term impact. Whether we realize it or not right now, that is the truth. And unfortunately, our society has been very conditioned to believe that we're separate from nature, that we are like the controllers of it, and it's there for us to just take advantage of. But that is what's causing so many additional problems in our society today. When we realize that we are actually one with it and we let nature do what nature does best, which is create abundance, and we empower the future, also known as the children, then we can really catalyze this long-term shift for people that leaves this world in a much better place, creates much more abundance for everybody, creates a new level of equality, right? There should never be anybody going without food today. There shouldn't be anybody going without energy or clean water. But that's all an operation built around scarcity. And it's time we shift the tide. And what we're doing here with the CSA model, not only is it extremely valuable at places like Gulf's Landing to get it started and kick it off, but schools, churches, orphanages, those kind of places where it touches people right at the heart. I think this is a time that all of us, start being aware of where are these locations around us that could possibly integrate this, and get out there and start talking to people. Take that action. Some people will say yes, some people will say no. That's okay. At least they're now aware of a new possibility, and enough times of it coming across their awareness, well, eventually that leads to change. So with that said, I'll pass it back over to you, Chris.
Thanks, Matty. I couldn't have said that better. I think said it better than Jim. But, yeah, that's all I have. And Jim, if you want to close it out.
Just want to say, come see us. If you're curious, if you're interested in maybe doing this, the total for a whole year is $4,200. As a result of that year's investment of $350 a month, we intend to produce many thousands of dollars worth of value more than that. And then that value is an investment that grows exponentially. So let's grow freedom together, my friends. Come and see us.
Thanks, Jim.
Ciao for now.
Yeah.